Hello, I'm Dennis Quaid. Many brilliant advances have occurred because someone was brave enough or desperate enough to take a risk. A bold idea may take years to research and develop, but the payoff can be enormous. Today we'll highlight the innovators who are changing our world for the better.
An apartment home is a place of comfort and warmth, where families grow and memories take shape. A space that evokes safety. Multifamily home and property insurance is there to protect this safe haven. But what happens if insurance isn't always acting in your family's best interest?
Multifamily property insurance is a relationship. It's a relationship between the insured and the insurer. The policy is a contract, and it's important to know that because both parties need to abide by the terms in the contract. So when a contract is presented to the insured and they endorse it and pay a premium, everybody's bound to that. Eventually there will be a curtain call. The shoe's going to drop, there's going to be some sort of damage on the property. The insurance company needs to live up to their end of the bargain and adequately and fairly indemnify a claim at that point in time. And that's our role, to make sure that our client, the insured, is treated properly in accordance with the contract.
We've had some difficulty in finding coverage. Insurance is not always the easiest thing to find when you have older buildings, and we have a number of older buildings. We have some large properties. We've had some properties that have had risks on them that have been a concern for carriers. So we have to be very careful how we go out and obtain insurance as well as how we maintain it once we have it.
Property damage is inevitable. With hail, heavy winds, and other natural devastating events, having reliable multifamily home insurance is imperative. However, sifting through policies can be overwhelming and confusing, often leading us to choose the wrong policy.
Your insurance policy is your contract with the insurance company, and that policy dictates what is covered and what isn't. And a lot of insurance policies are boilerplated or very similar together, but with the forms and endorsements, it's what separates your policy and makes it unique to you and your needs for your properties. When you're dealing with multi-million-dollar claims, it's often very important to make sure that your communication is effective. The insurance company doesn't want to write checks for millions of dollars. They're willing to, but you have to show them why. And part of what we have to do is be able to communicate these damages to them appropriately and effectively in a manner in which they understand and can see where we're coming from so that we can come to a resolution.
Sometimes insurance companies, certain insurance companies will put up major obstacles. They have certain delay, deny, and reject tactics, some of which aren't in the policy. Two that they use most frequently is to say you didn't report it in time or it's old damage. The underwriting inspection, if you will, by the insurance company is not well done. It's not comprehensive. So we do what we call a baseline inspection, and that is comprehensive. It's supported with time, date, stamp photos and a written report. So we have a stake in the ground as to the condition of a property on a given date and time. Therefore, when a storm rolls through, and we monitor that with the proprietary weather tracking system, we go back and we relook at it. So failure to report is gone, and then the old damage arrow in their quiver is gone. So what it enables us to do is to indemnify our property owners fairly and reasonably in an immediate short period of time, because all my owners want to do is get back to pre-loss operating condition. So something that could take 12 rounds, we knock it out in the first round.
Today, insurers try to delay, deny, and reject claims based on old or faulty inspections. iStorm Group is putting the trust back into insurance-client relationships by laying down the preventative work to ensure your property is protected to its fullest.
So iStorm really has two sides of the street. So our client is the insured, and then the insurance companies, especially the large loss guys, have come to know us and trust us. But most importantly, with this baseline and the post-storm inspection reports and photos, it makes their job easier. So iStorm uses a proprietary weather tracking system to monitor our clients' properties. So basically we set wind and hail thresholds based on the vulnerability of the property. So if a storm allegedly comes through, we go and we re-inspect. A lot of times they're accurate, probably 80% of the time. And then we compare that to our baseline. If it's damaged, we go to claim. If it's not, we've got a new baseline.
iStorm gets ahead of the damage, utilizing its systems to thoroughly inspect properties at all times, creating ease when, not if, a storm hits. With over 10 years of service, iStorm Group ensures quality and trust.
iStorm is at the front of this industry because of their abilities to communicate and effectively solve problems for commercial property owners and multifamily owners. They're able to do that by being on property before a loss occurs. When they're on a property before a loss occurs, they're able to see the current condition of a building. Now, after a loss occurs, we can go back and we can compare those two visits together and we can see what's happened between the pre-loss and post-loss. And that effectively is able to help us communicate with the carrier the damages that have occurred, when they occurred, and what damages are. A lot of what iStorm does is the pre-loss investigation. And the pre-loss investigation helps us prove the loss when it does happen. And we have a client named Woods at Auburn Lakes in Ohio, and on April 7th of 2020, that property was severely damaged by hail. Prior to that, we had been on site and we were able to take proper documentation of the current condition of the property. So when the storm hit, we had pre-loss documentation, and now we have post-loss documentation, which clearly showed the damages that occurred on that exact date. Because of the documentation that we had, we were actually able to settle that claim in a 45-day period at a $3.5 million settlement. That could have taken us easily 6 months to a year had we not had the proper documentation that iStorm can provide for me and for their clients.
What I would tell my clients is you are at risk and we can help, because it's not if but when. You will be affected. Somebody's gonna drive a car through a building, you're gonna have a hailstorm, you're gonna have a fire, you're gonna have wind damage. So are you prepared for that? Because if you're not prepared, you are definitely at risk, and an insurance company will likely take advantage of you. We have an over 95% indemnification success rate. I'm speaking from $100 million worth of claims settled and projects executed in a 10-year period. So when I tell you not if but when, I mean it.
We do all the work for you and nothing without you, because it's not if, but when.
We're glad you could join us today. I'm Dennis Quaid. See you next time.